First, the fact that God is, and the fact that who God is the foundation of the church. That God is, now you say, we're here. Of course we believe God is. Well, much of the world does not. And you might even say, is that a legitimate question? Who needs the church? Statistically, about 18 to 20% of all Americans are in church this morning. So some of them just missed, but many of that, 75 or 80%, many of those people are just saying, no, I don't need the church. They've written the church off. And maybe they've done it for all kinds of reasons. You know, when you think of church, the first thing that pops into your mind, probably, and I won't poll you, but I did a little bit, the first thing that probably pops into your mind is a building, right? Maybe a little white church in the countryside, you know. Maybe it's a Bible. Maybe you think of a Bible. Maybe you think boring. That's 3 B's in a row. We'll use a little alliteration here. Maybe you think, oh no, church, boring. Maybe your only image is negative of the church because of the press that the church has gotten in our lifetime. Maybe you think of dirty old men who are acting out their lecherous deeds on the innocent. Aren't we tired of hearing that? It should never be so of Christ's church. That isn't Christ's church's work. It's a misrepresentation of Christ's work. That's not what the church is about. And others would say it's about money. It's not about money. It takes money to do everything, but you don't hear much about money here, and it's not about money. The Lord doesn't need your money. He needs you. He wants you. He loves you, and that's what the church is about, you and your communion with the Lord. Well, this morning, in the first part of this little series, I want to think through a very simple proposition or assumption or presupposition, call it what you will. And this little proposition is foundational to the question, who needs the church? If the answer is yes to this equation, this proposition, then we have to at least think about the church. We have to entertain it. If the answer is no, then we are wasting our time. We absolutely don't need to be here if the answer is no to this question. And the question is answered, and I trust that you're all with me on this. The question is answered in Genesis 1:1. And we're just going to anchor there. We're going to take all of our thoughts from Genesis 1:1. I bet all of you can quote it, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning. You know, that phrase, in the beginning, I have thought, I heard this years ago, someone said it was the unbegun beginning, or the beginning before the beginning, but those are oxymorons. They don't make sense. But neither does Genesis 1:1 make sense, right? Your mind says there has to be a beginning to everything. You know, I read a statement by an atheist. I wrote it down so I wouldn't mess it up. He asked this question. He said, if the universe needs a cause, then why doesn't God need a cause? Think about that a moment. Have you ever thought that way? I mean, I have. I've entertained that thought. If the universe needs a cause, why doesn't God need a cause? And here's the answer. The question is phrased wrong. Everything that has a beginning needs a cause. Right? Everything that has a beginning needs a cause. If it had no beginning, it does not need a cause. Do you remember when Moses said to the Lord, he said, Lord, who shall I say sent me? Who are you? And the Lord said, Moses, I am. I am that I am. Now, that's the most profound answer that could ever be given, because implied in that answer is that he is the self-existent being. That's a state of being. He's self-existent, that he just is. So when we look at Genesis 1:1, the presupposition that we're starting with is that God is.